Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. Yesterday I did a video where I broke down the top male duos in challenge history. Thus, I think it is the perfect time to break down the top female duos in challenge history. These are females who played together as partners on a season. Think of Rivals 1, Rivals 2, Battle of the Bloodlines, or Final Reckoning. This ranking is going to be based on how they performed on the season, the level of difficulty they played against, and also just a bit of subjectivity. For this video, I'm going to go in detail on the top 5 teams. But before I do that, I'm going to name the 5 honorable mentions. Coming in 10th place is John A and Nani from the Challenge Rivals 2. In 9th place is John A and Jasmine from the Challenge Rivals 1. In 8th place is Camilla and Jemmy from Rivals 2. 7th place, Jen and Mandy from Rivals 1. And in 6th place, Brianna and Jenna from Bloodlines. As good as they did that season, I can't neglect the fact that they came in 3rd place to Corey, who didn't even have an ACL during that final. It's a bit embarrassing. On to our top 5. Coming in 5th place is the pair of Cam Williams and Kaylee Morris from Final Reckoning. When spoilers first came out saying that Cam and Kaylee made it all the way to the final 6 of Final Reckoning, I personally assumed that they were the layup team, that they just floated on by based on their social game, based on people seeing Kaylee as one of the weak players. No, that's not what happened. They won 3 eliminations. While Jenna and Brianna also won 3 eliminations that season, Cam and Kaylee actually had to work together in those eliminations, and they were beating teams that had men on them. Every single elimination, one of the players was a man, and then the final one itself was Kyle and Brad. That's huge because you're not only overcoming players of your own sex, but of the opposite sex as well. As someone who watched every single daily challenge of Vendettas hyper closely, I can confidently tell you Kaylee was the worst female that season. So the fact that she was able to win 3 eliminations proves that Cam is a great coach, a great motivator, and that she grew a hell of a lot as a competitor while competing together. The crown jewel on their season was their big daily challenge win, where Cam ensured that her alliance would be completely safe and that Faith and Angela would face Davon and Jose in elimination. Then there was the mercenary twist, so that got thrown out, but it was still a masterful political play. In the end, they got eliminated in a purge, and even if they had made the final, I don't think they would have won. Nonetheless, their run was impressive considering the deck was stacked so hard against them. In 4th place is the duo of Cara Maria and Heather Cook from the Challenge Rivals 2, and they display how finishing strong matters, because even though people regard this team very highly, they only won 1 daily challenge, and that was the final daily challenge of the season to guarantee them a spot in the final. As good as Cara Maria became over the years, it's important to remember that daily challenges were not her groove for a long time, and was in some ways holding Cook back for a majority of the season. They then win 2 eliminations, they win the final daily challenge, they go to the final. In the final day 1, Cara comes up huge as she solves the 3D puzzle for them. They have a lead. In day 2 of the final, they have a lead for a good 50% of it, and then Paula and Emily come in and catch them and beat them. They were a strong team who put up a good fight against Emily and Paula, probably the only team that season who could have. In the end, they came up short. They just weren't the better team, and it sucks because I was rooting for them, you were probably rooting for them because Paula and Emily were so dominant that season. In 3rd is the 2nd place finishers of Rivals 1, Laurel and Cara Maria. You look at that team on paper, you're like, wow, that's 2 of the top 7 females in challenge history on 1 team. Why are they 3rd? Well, it's because they kind of underperformed during the season. They came in last place in 3 different daily challenges. 2 of those were on female elimination days that sent them straight into the jungle. Even with that, you can't deny this was a strong team. They won those 2 eliminations, one of them being a cardio-based elimination against Camilla and Teresa, a very stacked duo talent-wise in their own right, and would probably be on this list had they not come up against Laurel and Cara Maria so early in the season. They did win 2 daily challenges as a pair, although both of them were on male elimination days, and only one was official. What puts them so high on this list is their performance in the final, where they go toe-to-toe with Paula and Evelyn, 2 people who are built to run a final, and it was the hardest final in challenge history. We didn't see these girls complaining while Wes is dying, Johnny's dying, Tyler's dying. These girls just chucked on through and competed their asses off. Kudos to them for finishing that final because I don't think a lot of players in challenge history could. Not going to lie, I was a bit tempted to put them in 2nd place because I can't imagine a team beating them in elimination. Then again, all those DQs weigh them down, and in this modern era of the challenge where if you include purges, they would have been out right there. I spent so much time on 2nd and 1st place, just debating back and forth, who deserves to be where. Ultimately, I decided in 2nd place is the Rivals 1 winners, Paula Marinick and Evelyn Smith. For starters, their win was statistically dominant. They won 4 out of 8 daily challenges, i.e. 50% of them. They also won the opening elimination of the season against Anissa and Robin, and at that point Anissa had one of the better elimination records in challenge history. And of course, they won what was at that point the hardest final in challenge history against a stacked duo in Laurel and Cara. Why are they second and not first? Well, to put it simply, in most of the daily challenges that Evelyn and Paula did well in, Evelyn did 90% of the work. They were one-sided daily challenges where one person could take the entire lead and she went with it and ran. We're talking about the best duos here, and Evelyn and Paula didn't always mesh the best when they had to work together. Do I think Evelyn is a better player than Emily? Slightly. However, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and do I think Rivals 2 Paula is stronger than Rivals 1 Paula? I do by a country mile. As you know at this point, our first place team is Emily and Paula from Rivals 2. To put their win in perspective, they won 6 out of 10 daily challenges, were safe for 60% of the game. 6 out of 10 is a crazy level of dominance. And again, as I have to mention, Paula actually put in her fair share on this season. People like to say she was carried to her wins, which to me is a bit unfair because if she's being carried, then she must be the lightest anchor in the world. While Emily was definitely the heavyweight of their pair, her track record in daily challenges to that point was not great. That wasn't her fault, but she never had a partner as stable as Paula. Think of Emily as a star quarterback and Paula as a star wide receiver. Now, if you have a star wide receiver by yourself, that person obviously isn't taking a team to a championship. But once you pair them together, they're gonna make some magic. My favorite trait about Emily and Paula was their ability to recover. Everyone that season wanted to see them lose because they were the heavy favorites. They wanted the underdogs, Cook and Cara, to win. Cook and Cara won day 1 of the final and were in the lead for 50% of day 2. Paula and Emily in that eating station, Paula just houses it, and from there they take the lead and win by close to an hour. Any other team, when they're falling back as badly as they were, would have just crumbled under the pressure. Instead, they found something in them, they got that second win, they thrived, and they proved why they're number 1 on this list. Because they are the best female duo in challenge history. I hope you liked this video. Please drop a subscribe on our account if you aren't already. Drop a like on the video if you can. And please comment on a subject you'd like me to talk about or who your favorite female pair in challenge history is. Have a great day.